Hi and welcome. In this video we'll start a project that will span over the next 3 videos, so all QGIS users can join, even complete beginners. In this video we'll retrieve some data, filter it and save it in a beneficial format. So last video we produced a nice map, but now we'll go a bit more into depth. So let's start out by importing some data. We're going to find the data on QGIS' own website. I have a link in the description. Here we'll download the QGIS sample data.zip. Although this file is compressed, we can still import it. So I have it here, and I can just drag and drop it into QGIS. So here you'll have a lot to deal with. It's mainly about which coordinate system QGIS itself suggests and how to transform some of the data so that it's displayed correctly. So we're gonna add some layers here. So now we have the data inside QGIS. But what does GIS and spatial data really mean? GIS stands for Geographic Information System. Geographic information and spatial data is the same. It can be a point on the Earth's surface like an address or a tree, a line like a land border, or a surface like a lake or a city. But spatial data is not useful until it's put into a system where lakes, land borders and cities can be related to each other. This is where systematization comes into play. So in general, there are 3 different types of data. In this video, we'll only work with the first, vector data. So vector data is the most common type of data that you'll find in everyday use of GIS. So the vector model represents the location and shape of spatial features using points, lines and polygons, while their properties are included as attributes, so often presented as a table in QGIS. The other 2 data types are raster data, which we'll look into in the next video, and metadata, which can be the update frequency of a dataset or the author, for example. So let's try and have a look at the data we imported. Let's start out by hiding the data. So let's hide all layers and let's find some layers that we're interested in. So we're going to be looking for the rivers, the airports and the Alaska outline. We have the Alaska, the airport, and let's see if we can find the rivers here. And we'll toggle selected layers. Alright, so let's remove all the other data. We don't need that for now. Alright, now we have some airports. We have the outline of Alaska, and we have some rivers. So there are rules for spatial data. So polygon, like Alaska outline here, cannot intersect itself. It's like a lakeshore can't intersect itself and can't cross itself. So we can check for these errors in the geometries by using QGIS and the check validity tool. So let's try running the validity tool. So let's try running it on the Alaska shapefile. Let's run. Alright, so we have 3 outputs. We have a valid output that right now is only the islands, and we have the invalid output, which is the mainland. And we have the errors where we can see where the polygon intersects itself. We can fix this by running the Fix Geometries tool on the original Alaska outline. Let's try run. We only have one output called Fix Geometries, and let's check the validity of that. Let's see if it fixed the problem. We have the valid output, which is the entirety of Alaska. We have the invalid output, nothing, and no errors. You can also see the feature count is 0 in both cases. Alright, so now we have the fixed geometries. Let's remove the data. Alright, so now I want to save the fixed outline. And we want to do that by exporting it. So you may have heard of shapefiles. And although this is the typical way to receive geographic data, it is not the best way. So I suggest you use the new industry standard, which is the GeoPackage. The GeoPackage has no limitations compared to the shapefile, so let's save it as a GeoPackage, and let's just choose the location, call it Alaska Outline, click Alright. So now we have saved our Alaska Outline. Let's remove the temporary and let's remove the shapefile. Let's rename for airports and rivers. Alright, now I want to take a look at the airports. So let's open up the attribute table. We're gonna right click on the airports, open attribute table, see there's a column with ID, a column with the region, an elevation, the name of the airport, and the use of the airport. And if I only want to look at the civilian and public, I'm gonna filter it. So I'm gonna filter it by right clicking the airport, click filter, set the use, double click, so we have the expression down here, use the equal operator. We're gonna click all, and we can choose the civilian and public here. So now we have an expression here called use equals civilian or public. You can test it out and see that it returns 15 rows. I click OK, and now we have the airports only. That's it for today. In the next video we're gonna look at raster data, so watch next time.